Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a really fascinating listener request.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they want us to dive into the history of the Jewish people.
Okay.
But, go beyond just the usual Bible stories.
Right.
Yeah, see what else is out there. Exactly. And we've got some great sources to guide us.
So we have the biblical narrative, obviously.
Yeah.
But, archaeology and historical research, they're always finding new pieces, right?
Yeah.
Giving us a richer picture, more nuanced understanding.
It's like they're filling in the gaps, right? Like
Okay.
how historians and archaeologists are like working together to like enrich the biblical account.
I see.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's rewind all the way back, way back to like the 3rd millennium BC.
Okay.
That's where this all starts.
Ancient origins.
Yes, and tells us about all these Semitic peoples.
Okay.
And they were migrating from like the Arabian desert.
Right. Big migrations.
Yeah, huge movements of people.
Whole groups on the move.
Yeah, we're talking about groups like the Amorites.
The Amorites, okay.
They even clashed with the Egyptian pharaohs.
Wow, that's going way back.
I know. It's hard to imagine these like massive migrations.
It is, yeah.
Like entire groups of people just picking up and moving.
What would drive them to leave their homes?
It was probably like a lot of things.
Okay.
Climate change, resources running low.
Sure.
Maybe they were searching for better grazing lands, things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Nomadic people, always on the move, looking for resources.
Yeah. And, this was also a time of big upheaval in the ancient world.
Oh, yeah?
Empires rising and falling.
Right.
Trade routes shifting.
Mm-hmm.
New technologies popping up.
So a lot of changes, a lot of instability.
Definitely. So it wasn't just like a simple move.
No.
It was all part of this much larger drama playing out, like across continents.
It's a domino effect.
Yeah, exactly. And somewhere within all these migrations, we bump into the story of Abraham.
Abraham.
Yeah, and his journey to Canaan.
Right, the patriarch.
Right. The story of Abraham, it was probably passed down orally for generations before being written down.
Mm-hmm. Oral tradition.
Right. So it's like the story could have been shaped and reshaped over time.
Yeah, it changes a little with each telling, right?
Yeah, reflecting the beliefs and the culture of the people who were telling it.
That makes sense.
So, we can't take everything literally.
Right, it's not about word-for-word accuracy.
It's more about understanding the deeper meaning.
Yeah, the values, the beliefs behind the story.
Right. But here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Some of the locations connected to Abraham's story,
Uh-huh.
they didn't actually exist back in the 3rd millennium BC.
Oh, so the timeline doesn't quite match up.
Yeah. Does that mean the whole story is, like, made up?
Well, not necessarily. It's more likely that the story, evolved over time.
Okay.
Details changed, locations might have been updated
Right.
as it was passed down.
I see.
Remember, oral histories, they're fluid, right?
Yeah.
They adapt
Yeah.
to the changing circumstances, the understanding of the people telling them.
So it's like the story reflects the people who are telling it.
In a way, yeah.
It's fascinating.
It is.
But it makes studying ancient history, like, really challenging.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like trying to put together a puzzle,
Yeah,
but with some pieces missing.
exactly. And you're trying to reconstruct, just a glimpse of the past.
It's like historical detective work.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit
Okay.
to the 17th century BC.
Okay.
Egypt is having a rough time.
Oh, no. What's happening?
Well, this group, they're called the Hyksos.
Hyksos. Okay.
Yeah, they see an opportunity,
Oh,
they invade Egypt, and they actually rule for a while.
wow. So Egypt's vulnerable.
Yeah, and this is where the story of Jacob and his sons comes in,
Jacob and his sons. Okay.
migrating to Egypt.
Right. So this is connected to the Hyksos invasion then.
Well, the timing seems about right,
Yeah.
but, it's hard to say for sure
Right.
if it's directly connected.
Mm.
But what's really interesting
Yeah.
is the possible link to another group,
Okay. Who are they?
the Habiru.
Habiru. I've heard that name.
Yeah, they pop up in some ancient Egyptian texts.
Right.
And some scholars think they might be connected to the Hebrews.
Oh, so this could be another piece of the puzzle
Exactly.
connecting to the origins of the Jewish people.
Yes.
But remind me, who were the Habiru exactly?
Okay, so they were kind of like these semi-nomadic tribes.
Right.
And, they sometimes worked as mercenaries.
Mercenaries. So they fought for hire.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
What's that?
They might have had this, like, unique belief system.
Really? Tell me more.
Okay, so they might have practiced a form of monotheism.
Monotheism. Interesting.
Yeah, they recognized one primary god,
Okay.
but they also accepted that other deities existed.
Wait, so they believed in one god, but also acknowledged others?
Yeah, it's called henotheism.
Henotheism, I haven't heard that term before.
Yeah, it's like a step on the evolutionary path of religious thought, you know?
Like a transition, a shift in thinking.
Right. So you can imagine in a world dominated by like polytheistic beliefs.
Right, many gods.
Yeah, this idea of a single all-powerful God, that was pretty revolutionary.
It really was a radical departure from the norm. And this ties into the origins of the Israelites.
Yeah, and their unique belief system.
So we've got these potentially monotheistic Habiru
Right.
wandering around,
Yeah,
possibly merging with other groups fleeing Egypt.
possibly. Yeah.
And this is all like pointing towards the formation of the Israelites.
Yeah, it seems like it.
But what about the Exodus? You know, that defining moment in their history.
Right.
Moses leading the Israelites out of slavery.
It's such a powerful story.
It is very symbolic, but, you know, it's also surrounded by mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really no concrete archaeological evidence to support it.
Really?
At least not the Exodus as it's described in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, you know, absence of evidence is an evidence of absence.
True.
It's just one of those things we might never know for sure.
So it's like we're in this like gray area
Yeah,
where history and faith intersect.
exactly. It's not about proving or disproving anything, really. It's more about understanding, you know, what the story means,
Yeah.
its significance, how it shaped Jewish identity.
And this is also where the Ten Commandments come in.
Right, the Ten Commandments, yes.
That seems like a major turning point.
Oh, absolutely.
Moses receiving them on Mount Sinai.
Right. They're, you know, they're a cornerstone of Jewish law and ethics.
Yeah.
And they really represent a clear shift from enotheism to monotheism.
Oh, wow. So that's like a pivotal moment in the evolution of Jewish religious thought.
A defining moment, yes.
It's like they're saying, you know,
Right.
this is who we are.
Yeah.
This is what we believe in.
And from there, they set off to conquer Canaan.
Yeah, which wasn't exactly a walk in the park.
No, not at all.
They faced a lot of resistance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from all sorts of groups.
Like who?
Well, the Philistines, for example.
Ah, the Philistines.
They were a pretty powerful force in the region.
They were very formidable. And it's during this time that we see, you know, the biblical judges,
Oh, right.
like Deborah, Gideon, Samson.
Those names are so familiar.
They were, you know, charismatic leaders
Yeah.
guiding the Israelites
Wow.
through those turbulent times.
It's amazing, you know, thinking about all the challenges they faced.
It is constantly battling, just trying to survive,
Yeah.
forge a new life in a new land.
It must have been a time of such uncertainty.
Oh, absolutely. Constant change.
Yeah.
And it's in the midst of this chaos that, you know, this desire for stability starts to emerge.
Right, right.
The need for unity. The period of the judges, it really paved the way for the monarchy.
So the need for a king arose out of that chaos.
In a way, yes.
Interesting.
They needed a strong leader, right?
Yeah.
Someone to unite the tribes,
Mm-hmm.
secure their future. It was a transition driven by necessity. And that's where King David comes in.
King David.
Yeah.
Legendary King David.
Around 1000 BC,
Okay.
he manages to unite the Israelite tribes.
Wow.
They were constantly warring, you know,
Yeah.
and he establishes a dynasty
Wow.
that really shapes Jewish history.
King David, the warrior, the poet.
The unifier.
It's hard to, like, overstate his impact, right?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't just unite the tribes.
Right.
He also makes Jerusalem his capital.
Oh, right. Jerusalem, which is still, like, so significant today.
Exactly.
For the Jewish people.
And his choice of Jerusalem, you know, it was strategic.
Oh, yeah.
It was symbolic, too.
In what way?
Well, it was right in the heartland of the New Kingdom. And it already held this, like, religious significance for the Israelites.
Right.
And it's under David's son, Solomon, that the first temple is built in Jerusalem.
Ah, the first temple.
Yeah.
Intended to house the Ark of the Covenant.
That's right.
The first temple, such a magnificent structure,
It really was.
became the symbol of, you know, Jewish faith,
Uh-huh.
national identity.
And it was a place, you know,
Yeah.
where God's presence could dwell among his people.
It's like a focal point
Yeah.
for their rituals,
Yeah,
celebrations.
National celebration.
I've always been, like, fascinated by this idea of the temple.
Yeah, me too. It's a powerful image.
It is like a place where heaven and earth meet.
And, you know, its location on the Temple Mount
Right,
just
yeah.
further solidified Jerusalem's status, as this holy city.
And it's interesting because there's this common misconception
Oh, yeah.
that the temple was actually located under the Dome of the Rock,
Right, which isn't true.
which is not true.
The Dome of the Rock, that's an Islamic shrine, built centuries later.
Oh,
The temple was probably on a different part of the mount.
I see.
A site that, archaeologists are still studying and debating.
It blows my mind to think that this one structure,
Yeah.
built thousands of years ago, still resonates like through history,
I know, it's amazing.
shaping beliefs,
Uh-huh.
conflicts, even today.
Its legacy is undeniable.
But, empires,
Yeah.
dynasties,
Yeah,
they don't last forever.
that's true.
So what happened after Solomon died?
Well, sadly, Solomon's reign, it was kind of the peak of Israelite power.
Oh, so it was all downhill from there.
Well, after his death, the kingdom, it actually splits.
So splits.
It divides two separate kingdoms.
Really?
Yeah. You have the northern kingdom of Israel,
Okay.
and then the southern kingdom of Judah.
Judah.
And it's from Judah that the term Jew comes from.
So Hebrew
Mhm.
is like that earlier, broader identity.
Mhm.
And then Jew becomes more specific.
Yes, linked to that southern kingdom.
This division, I mean, it must have had a huge impact
It did.
on their sense of unity. Right.
It weakened them, for sure.
Yeah. And I'm guessing it didn't help when facing like threats from outside.
You're right about that. The Assyrian Empire,
Right.
they were a powerful force in the region at the time,
Uh-huh.
and they saw an opportunity.
Oh, no.
They took advantage of this division, and in 722 BC,
Yeah.
they conquered the northern kingdom of Israel.
Wow.
They dispersed the Israelites throughout their empire.
Oh, wow. So they were scattered.
Forced migration.
That must have been like devastating for them.
Oh, it was a huge blow.
What happened to those Israelites?
Those who were dispersed.
Yeah.
Well, it's a complicated story.
Wow.
A lot of debate about it.
But-
But, many of them were probably assimilated into other cultures.
Right. They lost their identity over time.
It's hard to maintain your traditions when you're forced to integrate into a new society.
It's like the opposite of what happened with the Jews in Judah.
Yeah, exactly.
So the northern kingdom falls.
Right.
People are scattered.
Yeah.
What happens to Judah?
Well, they managed to hang on for a while,
Okay.
but their fate was pretty much tied to the rise of another empire,
Which one?
the Babylonians.
Oh, the Babylon.
In
Oh.
587 BC,
Okay.
they conquered Judah.
They conquered Judah.
They destroy the first temple,
Oh, wow.
and they exiled the Jewish elite to Babylon.
So this is like the Babylonian captivity,
That's right.
a pivotal moment in Jewish history.
Absolutely.
Imagine that. Your temple, the symbol of your faith,
Yeah.
destroyed.
And then to be forced into exile,
Far from
that
home.
must have been a traumatic experience.
It's hard to even imagine, like, the despair.
But,
Yeah.
it also kind of proved to be a crucible,
A crucible.
a time of, intense introspection, spiritual renewal.
Right.
It was during this time that Jewish scribes and scholars,
Yeah.
they started compiling the texts
Okay.
that would eventually form the Hebrew Bible.
So out of this tragedy.
Out of the ashes,
Yeah.
the foundation of Judaism emerges.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's like being uprooted forced them to re-examine their beliefs,
Yeah.
to codify their
And
traditions
to preserve them.
for future generations.
It's a fascinating period.
It is.
Because, you can see how this exile might have influenced the Bible.
Oh, so.
Well, there are these parallels
Okay.
between biblical texts
Yeah.
and Mesopotamian creation myths.
Oh, wow.
The story of the Great Flood, for example. It
It's-
appears in the Bible,
Yeah.
but it's also in the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh.
Really?
Yeah.
So did, Jewish scholars incorporate elements of Babylonian mythology?
That's one theory.
Or were these stories already circulating?
Possibly.
Just reshaped during this period of exile?
It's a bit of a mystery.
A giant jigsaw puzzle,
Ugh.
trying to figure out how all the pieces fit together.
And we might never have all the pieces.
But eventually the exile ends, right?
Right.
It does.
We go back home.
Yeah. In 539 BC,
Okay.
the Persian king, Cyrus the Great,
Cyrus the Great.
he conquers Babylon,
Okay.
and he issues a decree
Yeah.
allowing the exiled Jews to return.
To return to their land.
Yes, and to rebuild their temple in Jerusalem.
Cyrus the Great, the liberator.
He certainly played a pivotal role.
It's amazing how the fate of, entire nations
Yeah.
can just depend on the actions of one ruler.
It's true. History is often shaped by individuals.
But returning after decades of exile
Hmm.
must have been both, like, exhilarating
Oh, yeah.
and daunting, you know?
For sure.
Did they find their homeland, like, unchanged?
Well, change is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Especially over decades.
So it wasn't just picking up where they left off.
No, it was more like starting anew.
Rebuilding their society, their
Yeah.
identity.
And adapting to a world that had, like, moved on without them.
Exactly.
And this is, like, the Second Temple period.
The Second Temple period, yeah.
And what happens during this time?
Well, you see a lot of new religious and political dynamics
Oh, interesting.
emerging within Jewish society.
Give me an example.
For instance, not all the Jews went back to Jerusalem.
They didn't.
No, some stayed in Babylon.
Oh, wow.
They'd built lives there.
I see.
Others had settled in different parts of the world.
During the exile?
Yeah, and they formed these communities,
Okay.
what we now call the diaspora.
So even as they're rebuilding in Jerusalem,
Yeah.
there's this other story unfolding.
Uh-huh.
Jewish communities taking root in all these different places,
Yeah.
maintaining their identity
Mm-hmm.
while adapting to new cultures.
It's like a branching tree, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Roots in Jerusalem,
Yeah.
but spreading outwards.
Connecting distant lands.
Yeah. It's a beautiful image. And back in Judea, you know, there was this new influence,
Oh, yeah.
Hellenistic culture.
Hellenistic.
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, it came about after Alexander the Great's conquests.
Oh, okay.
And it led to, like, a period of cultural exchange.
So Greek influence.
Yeah, think philosophy, art, architecture.
All the stuff that shaped Western civilization.
Exactly.
How did that impact Jewish society?
Well, it was complicated.
Okay.
Some embraced the Hellenistic customs.
They did?
Yeah, they saw them as compatible, you know, with their Jewish identity.
Okay.
Others,
Yeah.
they saw it as a threat,
Oh.
a dilution of their traditions.
So you have this tension
Mm-hmm.
between tradition and innovation.
Exactly.
Holding on to the old ways versus embracing the new.
It happens, you know, when cultures clash.
Did it lead to, like, any major conflict?
Oh, yeah. The Maccabean Revolt
The Maccabean Revolt.
in the 2nd century
Yeah.
BC
Okay.
was a direct response.
To the
Yeah.
Seleucid Empire.
They controlled Judea at the time,
Right.
and they were trying to suppress traditional Jewish practices,
Oh, wow.
impose Hellenistic customs instead.
So it was a fight for religious freedom.
It was a struggle to preserve their way of life.
The Maccabees, those legendary warriors.
Fighting for their faith.
Their freedom.
It's a story about resilience, right?
Yeah.
The human spirit,
Willingness to fight for what you believe in.
even against overwhelming odds.
And they won, right?
They did. Against all odds, they retook Jerusalem
Wow.
and rededicated the temple.
Amazing.
It's celebrated during Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights,
Exactly.
commemorating the miracle of the oil.
Yeah. The oil that lasted for 8 days.
It's such a powerful story of, like, hope,
Mm-hmm.
resilience
Mm-hmm.
in the face of oppression.
But even with this victory,
Yeah.
the challenges didn't just disappear.
Right, right. Did they stay independent?
Sadly, no. The Maccabean victory,
Yeah.
it was just a brief respite. A new empire was on the rise.
Which one?
The Roman Empire.
Romans.
In 63 BC,
Yeah.
the Roman legions marched into Judea,
Wow.
marking the beginning of Roman rule.
And that would have, like, huge consequences.
Huge consequences.
For the Jewish people?
The Romans, they were, you know, masters of organization,
Yeah.
engineering.
Military might.
They were a force to be reckoned with.
I bet their arrival sent shockwaves through Judea.
Oh, for sure.
What was life like under Roman rule?
Well, the Romans, you know,
Yeah.
they were generally pretty pragmatic rulers.
Okay.
They allowed the Jews to practice their religion.
They did.
Yeah, and maintain some degree of self-governance.
Okay.
But they did appoint a king.
Oh.
Herod the Great,
Herod the Great.
a very complex and controversial figure.
Herod the Great. I mean, that name is synonymous with, like,
What?
grandeur,
Mm-hmm.
brutality.
He was ambitious, that's for sure.
Famous for his building projects.
Yeah, but also his ruthlessness, his paranoia.
So how was he viewed by the Jewish people?
Well, Herod, he was a shrewd politician,
Yeah.
but ultimately his loyalty lay with Rome.
Right.
He tried to balance, you know, Roman interests with Jewish sensibilities,
I see.
but he was viewed with a lot of suspicion,
Yeah.
especially by those who saw him as, you know,
What?
a puppet of Rome.
And his reign.
Yeah.
It was marked by, like, what?
Political intrigue,
Uh-huh.
religious tensions,
Right.
and occasional outbreaks of violence.
Sounds like a very volatile mix.
It was.
So you have, like, the Roman overlords,
Yeah.
a king struggling to maintain control, and, like, these simmering religious tensions.
Yeah.
It feels like something dramatic was bound to happen.
And you're absolutely right.
Okay, here we go.
This period, with all this tension, it sets the stage for a new religious movement.
Which would be
Christianity.
Christianity.
It would change the course of history.
So Christianity, a religion that would spread, like, across the globe, shaping Western civilization,
Right.
has its roots in Roman-occupied Judea.
It all goes back to that turbulent time.
And at the center of it all is
Wow.
Jesus of Nazareth,
Jesus of Nazareth.
the birth of Jesus during the reign of Herod. It's a turning point in history.
A pivotal moment.
It would lead to this whole new faith.
A new faith that drew from Jewish tradition,
Right.
but would ultimately forge its own path.
And with that,
Yeah.
we've reached a crossroads in our journey.
Oh.
We've traced the history of the Jewish people, from those ancient origins in the Fertile Crescent, through empires,
Yeah.
exiles,
Right.
periods of both unity and division.
A long and complex history.
We've seen how they face incredible challenges,
Yeah.
adapted to all these changing circumstances, and left like a lasting mark on the world.
An undeniable mark.
And now we've arrived at the dawn of a new era.
A new era.
One that would see the rise of Christianity and have a profound impact on Western civilization.
A profound impact, indeed.
And this brings us back to our second source,
Ah, yes.
that book trailer.
España contra su leyenda negra.
Okay, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around, like, how Spain fits into all this.
I know, it seems a bit out of left field.
We're talking ancient Judea,
Yeah.
Roman emperors,
Uh-huh.
the birth of Christianity.
Right.
Spain feels like, a whole other story.
I understand, but trust me, the connection will become clear.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
You see, Spain,
Yeah.
despite being so far from Judea, it eventually plays a significant role in Jewish history.
It does.
Oh, yeah. And this book,
Yeah.
it offers a glimpse into how Spain's been perceived,
Okay.
especially regarding its treatment of Jews and other minority groups.
Okay, so what is this Black Legend of Spain all about?
The Black Legend. It's basically this historical narrative
Okay.
that portrays Spain in a very negative light.
Ooh.
Yeah, it emphasizes their cruelty,
Okay.
intolerance, oppression,
Especially during, like, the Inquisition.
especially during the Inquisition. Yeah. It's a complicated topic.
It sounds like it.
Very controversial.
Historians have been debating it for centuries.
It's one of those things that people have very strong opinions about.
I see. So this book trailer is saying
Yeah,
there's more to the story,
exactly.
that the Black Legend might be a bit one-sided.
That's what the book argues, yes.
It's like we need to, like, peel back the layers, right, of perception to really get a more nuanced view of history.
Exactly. That's what's so fascinating about history. There are always multiple perspectives.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going.
Go ahead.
But before we, like, dive into Spain and its relationship with the Jewish people,
Yeah.
let's just take a minute to, like, reflect.
On everything we've learned.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind tour
Yeah,
through millennia.
it has.
Empires, exiles, religious transformations,
New ideas emerging.
the Jewish people, facing unimaginable challenges.
Yeah.
But they've held on to their identity.
Their cultural and religious identity.
They've adapted,
Mm-hmm.
innovated,
Yeah.
contributed so much to the world.
To the intellectual and spiritual landscape.
Their story,
Yeah.
It's a testament to the power of faith.
To the importance of tradition.
Yeah.
And to the resilience of the human spirit.
But it's also a reminder that history,
Yeah.
it's not just dates and names.
No, it's not.
It's a story about people.
Absolutely.
Their struggles,
Right.
their triumphs.
Their enduring legacy.
Okay, but how does Spain, a country we usually think of as Catholic,
Yeah.
how does it enter the picture? It's a long way from ancient Judea.
It is, but that's the beauty of history, right? It's
Yeah.
all interconnected. Jewish communities, they were already in Spain.
They were.
Yeah, back in the Roman period.
Oh, wow.
But things get really interesting when the Muslims conquer Spain.
Wait, the Muslims
Yeah.
conquered Spain.
In the 8th century AD.
Hold on. Muslim rule in Spain.
It's not something you hear every day, is it?
It's like a totally different chapter of history.
It was a huge turning point.
Yeah.
Not just a military takeover,
Right.
a cultural transformation.
And what did that mean for the Jewish community?
For them, it was like a golden age.
Really?
A period of incredible flourishing.
Okay, I need to hear more about this Muslim rule in Spain.
Well, under Muslim rule,
Yeah.
Spain became this hub
Of
intellectual and cultural exchange.
wow.
Cities like Cordoba,
Cordoba.
Toledo.
Okay.
They were centers of learning.
So people came from all over.
Oh, yeah, scholars from across the world.
Wow.
And Jewish scholars.
Yeah.
They played a key role.
In what way?
They translated ancient Greek texts into Arabic,
Oh, wow.
making them available to the Islamic world.
That must have had a huge impact
It did.
on the spread of knowledge.
Exactly. And they weren't just translating,
Right.
They were writing groundbreaking works of their own.
In what fields?
Philosophy, medicine, astronomy, mathematics, you name it.
Wow, they really thrived in this environment.
They did. It was a society that valued knowledge and scholarship.
And it didn't matter your religion.
Didn't matter. It was about what you could contribute.
So this is that golden age of Jewish culture in Spain.
That's right.
A time of peace, intellectual vibrancy.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it,
Mhm.
to the persecution and exile they faced elsewhere.
Yeah, it really is.
But, like all golden ages,
Yeah.
it couldn't last forever.
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, the Christian kingdoms,
Yeah.
they gradually started to reconquer the Iberian Peninsula.
The Reconquista.
Exactly.
So things started to change for the Jewish and Muslim community.
For sure. Their situation became more and more precarious.
How so?
Well, in 1492,
1492.
the same year Columbus set sail,
Yeah.
King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella,
Okay.
they issue a decree
What kind of decree?
expelling all Jews who refused to convert to Christianity.
Wow. An expulsion.
After centuries of relative peace and prosperity.
That's heartbreaking.
It was a devastating blow, for sure.
So where do they go?
All over. The Mediterranean world, Ottoman Empire,
Okay.
North Africa,
Okay.
parts of Europe.
Where?
And some even went to the Americas,
The Americas.
the newly discovered Americas.
So once again,
Yeah.
the Jewish diaspora continues.
Driven by upheaval intolerance.
It's a story of like displacement, but also resilience.
Right. Holding on to tradition
Yeah.
while adapting to new places, new cultures.
And this complex history, right?
Yeah.
With its moments of tolerance and persecution.
Mm.
That's what this book, España contra su leyenda negra,
Yeah,
is trying to address, right?
it is. It challenges that Black legend.
It's saying, basically, that it's not that simple,
Exactly.
that there's more to the story.
Spain has a rich history, a nuanced history.
And it's not just about the negative aspects,
Right.
like the Inquisition.
It's a call, really, for a more balanced understanding
Yeah.
of history, of the past.
It reminds you that history isn't just
Yeah.
like memorizing facts and dates.
No,
It's about understanding like the human stories,
it is.
the motivations,
Mm.
the choices,
Yeah.
the things that shape the world we live in today,
Well said.
and the history of the Jewish people
Yeah.
with its like epic sweep across time and continents.
Mm-hmm.
A perfect example of that.
It's a powerful story.
We've covered so much ground today,
We have.
from ancient origins, empires, exiles, the golden age in Spain.
And the expulsion.
It's both inspiring and heartbreaking.
Yeah, full of triumphs and tragedies.
The Jewish people, scattered across the globe,
Yeah.
they've contributed so much.
In every field.
Science, technology, art, literature.
Their impact is undeniable.
Their story is a testament to
But...
the power of perseverance,
Mhm.
the importance of tradition.
And that enduring human capacity
Yeah.
for resilience.
I hope our listeners will like continue to explore this history.
Me too. There's so much more to discover.
Maybe they'll dive into the biblical accounts.
Yeah.
Or explore the works of those Jewish scholars from the Golden Age in Spain.
Or maybe they'll look into the Black legend. There are so many paths to take.
That's what the deep dive is all about, right?
Opening doors.
Sparking curiosity.
Giving you the tools to explore.
to see the world with a deeper understanding.
Exactly.
So keep questioning, keep learning, keep diving deep into the fascinating world of history.
I couldn't have said it better myself.